Ready to go? Let's call this meeting to order. Salute to the flag.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mr. Both? Here. Mr. Chapman?
Here.
Mr. Farinella? Mr. Giannakis? Mrs. Miller?
Here.
Mr. Pender?
Here.
Mr. Sesselberg?
Here.
Mr. Cassio?
Here.
Mr. Panisi? In accordance with the terms of the Sunshine Law, adequate notice of this meeting was posted in all school buildings, the administration building, borough clerk's office, public library, free newspapers, and tapped into on January 8, 2024. Please be advised there is no smoking on school grounds, inside or outside, any time. Please silence all electronic devices, and pursuant to district policy number 0167, each statement made by a participant shall be limited to 3 minutes duration, and no participant may speak more than once on the same topic.
Okay. At this time, resolved pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, the board meets in closed session at this time to discuss confidential matters pertaining to a student matter. Action will be taken. We should be back in about a half hour to 45 minutes. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Good. All right. No, she's fine. I'd like to call the meeting back to order, please. Is it working?
Yeah.
Okay. Any agenda additions?
Yeah, there's one agenda addition. I'm just trying to see where I'm going to put it. It's really going to fit. It's education. It's a student resolutions. How about 10E? This can be read as 10E. It just says, resolved after consideration of the information presented by the parents during this evening's HIV appeal, as heard in executive session, the board hereby directs that the matter be returned to the principal for further investigation to determine whether additional information may exist to support a finding, and we will reconsider the matter at its next, at our next HIV report.
Okay. Any public comments on agenda items only? Resolution to approve prior board minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Both?
Yes.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. Farinella?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Pender?
Yes.
Mr. Sesselberg?
Yes.
Mr. Cassio?
Yes. Curriculum and student activities. We've got A through E.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Both?
Yes.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. Farinella?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Pender?
Yes.
Mr. Sesselberg?
Yes.
Mr. Cassio?
Yes. On to policy. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Board member comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Both?
Yes.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. Farinella?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Pender?
Yes.
Mr. Sesselberg?
Yes.
Mr. Cassio?
Yes. On personnel, letter A only at this time. Get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please. Got a discussion on it?
I want to congratulate Mrs. Mornay on her appointment to the position. I don't know if you're going to be a better person to fill that role.
Anybody else?
Just so we're clear, you said only A.
Only in.
Oh, yeah, that's correct.
Mrs. Marnetti.
Yeah. Roll call, please.
Mr. Both?
Yes.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. Farinella?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Pender?
Yes.
Mr. Sesselberg?
Yes.
Mr. Cassio?
Yes. Also in personnel, can I get B through E?
So moved.
Second.
Let me just get to my page. There's a lot there. All right. Discussion? Anybody? Roll call?
Mr. Both?
Yes, abstain on E139, my spouse.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. Farinella?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Pender?
Yes.
Mr. Sesselberg?
Yes.
Mr. Casio?
Yes. Finance, A through Z, I believe.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Vogt?
Yes.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. Farinella?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Pender?
Yes.
Mr. Sesselberg?
Yes.
Mr. Casio?
Yes. Any public comments?
Megan Winters, 50 Stephanie Drive. Mr. Chapman became a Board of Ed member in 2016 and decided that his first job was to go after Debbie Boyle's daughter. For no other reason than the fact that I was her daughter, he voted against my appointment as coach of the middle school softball team, despite the recommendations from Coach Pan, the AD, and my own credentials. Mr. Chapman called sitting board members to vote against me at the meeting simply because the board president's daughter shouldn't be coach. Only Mr. Sesselberg followed. Mr. Chapman recently made another decision which will affect the Southampton High School softball program forever. The pressure he put on Coach Panzarella and the AD leading up to their resignation is the latest case of how he uses his position on the board to intimidate coaches and school personnel. Through the chair, Mr. Chapman, you once told another Board of Ed member your pinky finger knows more about finance than she did. Well, I'd say Coach Panzarella's pinky finger knows more about softball and his team members than you do. Yet you still used your position to carry out your personal agenda, which created a toxic environment to the entire softball program. Mr. Chapman, through the chair, you stated in a TAP article, the role of the BOE member is to make sure the schools are well run, not to try to run the schools. I know the administration currently running our district is far more qualified to run a school district than I am. During my time as president, other board members were prevented from micromanaging or overstepping their legal boundaries. End quote. It is clear that you think you hold yourself to a higher standard, but I would say your actions tell a different story. Your statement echoes the Code of Ethics for School Board Members, Section 18A 12-24-1D, which states, I will carry out my responsibility not to administer the schools, but together with my fellow board members to see that they are well run. Mr. Chapman, would you not agree that you violated this section of the Code of Ethics? After all, you and your supporters accused BOE member Debbie Boyle of violating this for trying to use influence improperly to support a private cause, which were grounds to file an ethics charge. While Mrs. Boyle's violation was with regards to a message she sent as a UNICO member asking to have the band play at a UNICO event, your issue at hand is a direct attack that you made on a coach because of playing time that you did not agree with. Excuse me?
This isn't working. I just want to jump in. I know you're talking, but if we're going to bring anything to do with students, that's not going to be allowed. So just make sure you keep
Did I bring
comments.
something with students?
I'm just saying, I can see that it might be going in. I just wanted to give you a heads up and everybody who would speak.
Okay.
Is that
That's not going to count towards my 3 minutes, is
No,
it?
just go ahead. I'll give you an extra 20 seconds.
Okay. Again, you used your influence to support your own private agenda. Mrs. Boyle's ethics violation read, the Commissioner of Education concurred with the penalty recommended by the Commission for respondents' actions in bypassing the chain of commands and criticizing and questioning district administration. So I'm wondering, Mr. Chapman, since you are so well versed with regards to ethics violations, how did you not commit one? You have done far worse. You caused the beloved athletic director to lose her position and the winningest coach in New Jersey to resign. Mr. Pender, you said you will make sure this doesn't get swept under the rug. Will you be gathering up your fellow board members to sign an ethics violation? Mr. Giannakis, when Debbie Boyle was accused of saying something on social media, you stood up like it was the Salem witch trials and demanded her resignation. Where are your vitriolic demands now? Where are all of you? Thank you.
Georgianne Larson, 223 Broadway Avenue. In a town with such a rich history of high school athletics, it is a disgrace to these athletes that the Board of Education and high school administration has allowed politics to play such a predominant role. Coaches are being forced to being mere figureheads of the administration and board. They are not only being told who should be on the team, but who should be getting playing time. What is next? Do they want to call the plays in a football game or tell the pitcher what pitch to throw? Remember, you, the board, and the administration hired the coaches to give the athletes a chance to improve their skills and win. If you are going to hinder their ability to coach by pushing your own individual agenda, who are you actually hurting? You are hurting the high school athletes. And I can guarantee you that 99% of them do not care about your agendas. Where is it written that at least one coach per team must work within the district? There have been way too many cases in this town where quality coaches have been turned down, and that was the reason. There have been state champion wrestlers turned down, all-star and college level cheerleaders turned down, as well as semi-pro football players having been turned down. The experience level that these athletes had was second to none, and they were former South Plainfield graduates that wanted to give back. The best candidates should be given the position. The individual agendas of the board and the administration put aside. This narrow-mindedness needs to stop, as the only one getting hurt are the high school athletes. It is appearing to be the norm where athletes are more trusted than the coaches themselves. You hire coaches to mold and mentor these athletes into the best that they can be. Into many situations in the past several years, one athlete on a team has an issue with coaching staff, and instead of the Board of Ed and administration backing the coaching staff, they criticize them. If there are 20 athletes on a team and only one has an issue, is it the coaches or that individual athlete? I guess that depends on if that athlete is a friend or a relative of someone on the board or administration. The reason I can speak to this is that this has happened to me twice over the course of my 30+ years of coaching. And in that time, I have coached over 1,300 athletes with only 2 issues, which is as well as under 0.5%. You would think that that track record, the board, as well as the administration, would have backed me, but most of you did not.
10 seconds.
Coaches are employed for specific seasons, which has beginning and an end date. Holding coaches accountable during their specified season is completely understandable because they are under contract.
Anyone else? Okay. So, all right. Any board member comments? Go ahead, Bill.
Yes, thank you. As a board member, I can't speak on specific personnel issues, but what I do want to address is the public response to this issue and anything else referring to the board or the school district. The people who go on Facebook, letters to the Observer article, just putting stuff out there without knowing all the facts, asking the personnel involved, and just taking one person's statement and feelings and blowing it up all out of proportion is not helpful. The insinuations in the Observer article and the letter to the editor there, the Facebook responses and the posts, some of them by responsible journalists who should know better than to just put something out there from one side without looking for all the information. This is just a local example of the animosity and the misinformation that's going on throughout the country today, political and otherwise. You know, if you see something in an article, one person's opinion, ask questions, find out whether it's true. Don't just go and grade or put something on Facebook and just fan the flames. It's horrible. It just does not help. Research, ask questions, and maybe you'll find out that one person's diatribe is not the whole story.
Anyone else? I'd like to just reiterate what Bill said. You do?
Yeah,
Okay, go ahead.
I just want to remind everybody out there that A child of a Board of Education member does not lose their rights. Board of Education members have a responsibility, if they see something happening, to report it to the administration. I could only imagine that if something happened to another child and it wasn't reported to the administration, what the reaction would have been. That's all.
I'd like to end it with this. Is that? So, there are things that we can and cannot say up here. You do not have all the facts. And we cannot give you those facts. All right, we violate personnel. We violate students' rights. Again, what Bill said, you don't have all the information. Okay, so it's easy to critique from the outside. We have chosen, and based on our legal counsel, there's things that we cannot tell you. All right, some of you have elected us up here to trust us that we try to do the right thing. We're not always perfect, okay? But we try to make the best decision we can. I can tell you that what's been told in the public is not 100% correct. That's all I can say at this point. Thank you. Meeting adjourned. Oh, I'm sorry.
We need a motion.
Motion.
Sure.
And a second.
Motion to close the meeting.
Wait, Sharon wants to speak.
Sharon, now you want to speak? Good morning.
Okay, first thing is, Anu Garrison and Leo Whalen will be retiring as of August 1st. We are truly grateful and thank you for all your years of service, hard work, knowledge, inspiration, mentorship, and everything else you have done for the children of South Plainville. As you begin the next chapter of your lives, I hope you both have an enjoyable, fun, relaxing, and healthy retirement. You both truly deserve it. I'd also like to congratulate Tara Martinelli on your new position. It is well deserved. I know you're going to do a wonderful job. And look, I don't have any social media at all. I don't go on social media. I can only hear what people have said. But the one thing that upsets me a little bit is, everybody is right to their comments. Everybody has, First Amendment rights. But please refrain from criticizing a child. No one wants their child to be criticized, especially all over the internet and everything else. That child has nothing to do with this. So please, try to refrain from criticizing children. Thank you.
So can I get a motion?
Sorry. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Yeah.
It's up to the board. You just board to decide.
Let them speak. Okay. Thank you. You're welcome.
Sorry about that. Hi, my name's Nahid Lugda. I'm at 2386 Little Ave. This is our first board meeting, so we have no idea how these things run. I'm so sorry. Our oldest son is only in first grade, so this is all very new to us. We did come though because we are concerned about the busing situation that's happening now in town. Our son is a student at Riley. He's the oldest of three. We have two younger children at home as well. Me and my husband both work full time in the city, and so busing was a huge lifesaver for us. For us to be able to do transportation for our son means that I would potentially have to quit my job for him to be able to get to school. We moved to this town under the understanding that our students would be bused to and from school. On some occasions, I've had to take him to drop off at Riley. I don't know if any of you have children at Riley, but it's a mess. I mean, it's really, really difficult. It's a very small U. There's nowhere to park, and then for pickup, we used to have to pick him up at preschool, not at the annex. He was there before the annex. And you have to park and then go pick him up from the classroom. There's no parking, and I would be gone for at least an hour just to pick him up from school. This is like a huge issue for those of us who are working and for those of us who have other children at home. We have a baby. I can't just leave him. I have to wake him up early in the morning to bring him to school with my son and then still get to work on time and still bring his other brother to school because we can't send him to preschool at Riley anymore because there's a lottery. So we're just having really I'm wondering what are the options going to be for parents going into the next school year when transportation is something that we heavily relied on. I find it really hard to believe that 98% of the students are going to be now no buses to Riley. I think only one street in the entire town or the entire district qualifies for busing to Riley School. That's what I was told. And this really did come as a shock to us. As I mentioned, this is our first meeting. We didn't really understand or know these things were going on. And so we are hopeful that there are going to be options for us to be able to still get our children to school in time. And that isn't going to affect our livelihood. And that's really it. Thank you guys for everything you guys do. We just, we hope that there are going to be options for us going into the next school year. I did want to respond to let you know, unfortunately, we have been in discussion about what was considered to some degree courtesy busing. We were not at the distance requirement for the state of New Jersey. We had to increase the distance requirement, which did eliminate some of the options for the students who were bused. I'm not exactly sure what you're being told about. One, it actually affected 200 students in the district. So it's affected 200 students. We then were cut from our state aid, so we were down, over $1 million. That also sped this process up. We're having more students entering the district, and they're entering in an area where we have to provide more busing. So we have an issue with the availability of buses, the availability of bus drivers. So at this point, we are at what the state says is the requirement for our transportation. We are not talking about changing that at all. So unfortunately, those that are not going to be receiving busing in September, that won't change. The only thing we offer is, we cannot offer at this moment. We don't know if that's going to change. It has to do with the staffing, but we do have before and after care in all of the elementary schools and after care in Grant. So that is an option for our parents, for those that have to drop off their students earlier if they have to go to work, which we understand. But unfortunately, at this point, we won't be able to change back to what we've had been doing for the last couple of years while we try to address the increase in the population, the shortages of buses that we have, and the decrease in our funding that we experienced.
Can I ask a question? So what's going to happen, because before and after care is not going to be an option for us. So what's going to happen at Riley? As I mentioned, I mean, every month, like clockwork, we got an email from the principal, like even those of us who bus, like, guys, reminder, kiss and drop, kiss and drop, kiss and drop. I mean, it's a mess. So what is going to be our option? I can't, if I were to work remotely, let's say, there is no option for me to do an hour in the morning and an hour in the afternoon just for one of my children when I have 3. So what are they going to be doing to like alleviate that pressure from us? Because right now, as it stands, it's not doable. And you're talking about most of the students. When I said one street, I meant only one street qualifies for busing. I was told from the Board of Transportation, the Department of Transportation. So that means 98% of the school, 99% of the school is going to be dropped off and picked up. They're giving you incorrect information, or maybe this is miscommunication. Okay. Yeah.
But either way, that's on us. We have to do a better job in controlling the traffic UR rate. The 2 heaviest schools with traffic is Riley and Roosevelt. Roosevelt has a better pathway in going through with changing the traffic pattern. We are working with the South Plainfield Police Department, see if there's a better way that we can bring students in. We may have to look at an option of possibly having the students enter in maybe 10 or 15 minutes earlier, as long as we can get supervision, so it would stagger the parents coming in. Unfortunately, most parents want to drop off at the same time, so even though that we might have a 10 or 15 minute leeway now, if we expand that, it might alleviate some of the traffic, but that's the issue. It's on us to try to work out a better traffic pattern and get the traffic moving a little bit quicker.
Is there a way that they can make an appointment with you tomorrow or next week to discuss this further? To alleviate their questions?
We should go back and forth
Sure.
with this, because we don't have the answers.
Sure.
No problem. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate your time.
No problem.
Anything else? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Bye.
Meeting adjourned.